Classic TV fans, Rick Nineg here. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about I Love Lucy, as well as The Lucy Show. But more specifically, we're going to talk about that head, that bullfighting head that was used in the I Love Lucy episode called The Bullfighting Dance. I want to get into the details of the bullfighting dance episode, as well as a Lucy Show episode, and then tell you what happened to it, where it ended up. I think a lot of you will be surprised, and I want to know how many of you noticed. So let's get right into it, everyone. Thanks for supporting the channel. I'll first talk about the I Love Lucy episode called Bullfight Dance. Now, I have to admit, it's not one of my favorites. In fact, it's probably my second least favorite episode of the whole Hollywood series, everything that they were doing in Hollywood. Many reasons I didn't like the episode. I didn't even really like the final scene with Lucy as the bull herself and Ricky as the bullfighter. I didn't think it was funny. Yes, okay, it turned things on its end in terms of the bullfighter being the loser and Lucy being the winner. I still didn't like it. I didn't think it was funny. Lucy was kind of doing her own twist on the bull, being sweet and funny, but also winning. Again, wasn't my thing, but that's not really what I'm really focusing on. I'm going to show you what the head of the actual bull costume looked like before. We saw it in the episode, and Ricky said no, he wanted it more ferocious, and he gave this great facial expression. Then later on, Lucy came up with her own shenanigans, wanting to kind of one-up Ricky and saying, no, I want it to look like very girly, very feminine. We didn't see that part, but we just were surprised when we saw the bull come out and we realized that Lucy was inside. I also didn't like that Lucy was completely covered up. I felt that part of her humor is her facial expressions and so forth, and this was very body-oriented, and I didn't like that the head of the bull was what we saw, and then we didn't see Lucy at all. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what happened to that head. Let me know down below if you like this episode or not, and why you do or not. But let's jump to this episode from The Lucy Show. It's called Viv Visits Lucy. I want to touch upon a couple things. I really do think that there are some gems in this episode. Again, probably not one of the best episodes from The Lucy Show, but in this one, Viv flies to California to visit Lucy and admits that she's looking for a young college student from her hometown who she believes has fallen in with the no-good beatnik crowd. Now, Lucy and Viv disguise themselves as hippies to track this youth, this guy down that, you know, Viv has a certain soft spot for. She kind of sees him like a son of hers, an adopted son, let's just say. Now, one of the greatest moments of this episode is the reunion between Lucy and Vivian. Remember that they had not been working together for a long time, and after a long absence, she was able to come back, that is Viv, as a guest star. And I mean, look at this scene, look how real it is. Yes, they're both acting, but they were real friends in real life, and I think you can see that come through in this scene.
I'm so happy to see you.
Oh, and I'm so glad to see you. Oh, I don't know how I stayed away.
Have you had breakfast?
Oh, no, I just had lunch.
Oh, I forgot the difference in time.
Oh, I love it now that I'm in California.
I mean, come on, everyone. Isn't that truly one of the most beautiful scenes, being able to see them both come together? Again, they're acting, but didn't you notice there was just some real emotion behind it? Both of them, they really esteemed each other, loved each other, and it came through on camera. Again, that's why I wasn't the biggest proponent of The Lucy Show, but there are lots of good moments because they're both very talented, and there are just these gems in these episodes that are just so perfect. So if you haven't checked this one out, go ahead and look at it. Now, if we continue on, we see Lucy and Vivian as hippies, and they're trying to blend in with the crowd, with the teenagers, with all those youngsters that are below 18 years old. And Lucy puts her foot on top of a police officer's bike. The police officer responds in such a great way, and it's such a hilarious scene. I'll let you take a look.
Hey, Harry. Yeah? Take a look at those new rules and see if I'm allowed to tell her to get her foot off my motorcycle. says here it's okay if you take your hat off first.
Excuse me, miss. Would you please get your foot off my motorcycle?
Ah, cool it, Buzz. Cool it. Don't jabber. Don't jabber.
Don't jabber me. Don't jabber me.
And this is what I mean. They're just little gems, little moments that are really enjoyable in these episodes. Again, they're not super perfect. They're not super great, but they are enjoyable to watch. Now, as they make their way inside this club and there's a lot of dancing, they're trying to find this young guy that's there, and he finally shows up. He's actually played by Les Brown Jr. Now, if you're a fan of Gilligan's Island, he did play one of the players, Bingo, I believe, in Bingo, Bango, Bongo, and Irving. Played Bingo in the Don't Bug the Mosquitoes episode. I want to give a big shout out to Bill Peterson for submitting this to me, and I think a lot of you would really enjoy looking at this. So thank you, Bill, for sending this in, showing me that, in fact, when the girls go inside this quote-unquote club, there's all these strange and wonderful things in the background. Now, look on the bottom right-hand corner. I'll highlight it for you, and in fact, you can see it a lot throughout the episode. Now, it isn't just very similar to the head, the bullfighting head that was used in I Love Lucy almost a decade before. It is the actual head, and so Desilu saved it. They didn't really know what to do with it, and then they need an episode where they needed props and so forth, and they just had it there, and they just stuck it there. And in my mind, it is such an Easter egg. It is such a beautiful thing to see, to be able to behold this piece of a costume that we saw on another series of Lucy's. I mean, it's almost genius because they don't really point at it. It's just in the corner. Most people don't even notice it. I want to know how many of you noticed, and what do you think about this? Do you think this was purposely put in by Lucille Ball, maybe somewhere in production? I feel that Lucille Ball was in such control of her shows and what showed up, what didn't, and she was a perfectionist that she knew what was on this set. She knew it was there, and she wanted all of us to maybe catch a glimpse of it, and I am glad to be able to highlight this for you today. Thank you so much for the support as always. If you enjoy videos like this with Easter eggs, behind the scenes information, factoids, bloopers, cameos, all this good stuff, don't forget to browse my channel with over 1,500 videos. There's so much for you to enjoy. We'll see you all next time, and don't forget, everyone, be hopeful. Thank you so much to my supporters on Patreon, especially my diamond tier patrons. New patron Gerard D, David D, Citizen Kane 359, Greg S, Kevin K, Ricky, Sally, and Vito L. Make sure to check the links in the description to see how you could be on this list as well.